Cancers and cancer survivorship groups and cancer support groups represent the cancers that they're most passionate about through colorful ribbons. And the Rogel Cancer Center thought that was a very meaningful way to highlight our commitment to cancers of all type and every cancer patient that we see. Colorful captures our imagination in at least highlighting the notion that we want to give hope to every patient diagnosed with cancer. So we're really excited about the colorful theme and all that it will bring to us in the future through our ability to serve so many.
There's times in your life, pivotal times, where there was before this and then there was after this.
When I think about research in patients, I'm thinking of the patient who's sitting in front of me, and I'm thinking about future patients.
It is extremely exciting.
This is the novel age.
We've come a long way in cancer research.
One experiment at a time.
The Rogel Cancer Center faculty play major roles not only on the patients seen at the Rogel, but certainly nationally and internationally.
By working together, we have more resources and have a louder voice.
The fact that they've gotten as far as they have in the last 12 years is amazing to me.
It is our Mount Everest.
New talent, new excitement. We've gone up in the rankings.
It's miraculous.
That was quite an introduction. Welcome, everyone, to Colorful, the first gala fundraising event for the Rogel Cancer Center. We're so glad you could join us for an amazing night of community and philanthropy with guests from all over the country. And I'm happy to be here. The University of Michigan is a very special place for me. I graduated there in 1989, a long time ago. And Michigan, frankly, is embedded in my soul. It's always meant a lot to me. It continues to mean a lot to me. And for Colorful to reach out tonight and ask me to emcee this event, this incredibly significant and important event, is a huge honor to me at this point. Being a part of this event is also very meaningful to me. We all have loved ones who have been touched by cancer. I lost my grandfather, my mother's father, who was like a father to me, to lung cancer. I'm not unique. I'm not alone. Everybody on here today, I'm sure, has been touched in some small way by cancer. Either you've lost someone you love or someone you love is fighting that fight. And tonight is an effort to help step forward, to help them out, to try to beat and win this battle that they're in. There's such a great need to advance treatments and cures. The University of Michigan is a leader. It was recognized as one of the top 10 cancer research programs in the world this year. The Rogel Cancer Center has created quite a team. At ESPN, we know it's all about being a team, but there's still much work to do. And that's where we come in tonight. We can each make a difference. Throughout the night, we'll hear powerful stories of people making a positive impact, and you can too. There'll be opportunities to click to give. This event is for everyone who has faced, is facing, or will face a cancer journey. We are behind you. So let's get this started.
I had woken up and there was a lump above my right collarbone. I went ahead and I made an appointment with my primary physician, who suggested that I go get an x-ray, a chest x-ray. They had found a small nodule on my left lung and had suggested I go for a CAT scan. The phone rang. It was the surgeon. He said, "I've been dreading this phone call all day."
Giving bad news is it's hard. It's really hard. We've all been there in tears with our patients. Sometimes your heart is broken.
I took care of a 12-year-old who had so many questions. Why do I have neuroblastoma? Why do kids get this? Why aren't there any cures?
My patients have graduated from high school, colleges. They have the kids of their own.
And now you've gotten to know them better. You've gotten to develop a relationship. And that does make the emotional aspects of being an oncologist even harder.
And unfortunately, Dr. K had to give us the bad news that it was non-small adenocarcinoma.
This was, by definition, what we would call stage 4.
Driving home, neither of us really said much to each other because the worst of this day still was ahead of us. We still had to go home and tell our kids.
I remember every single thing about that day.
And I remember walking in the door, and they all knew just by looking at us.
Because I could see it in my dad's face. I will never forget the look on his face, ever. And he had that look for weeks after he tried to be, he's the dad, he's got to be strong. So he tried to be that person, but I mean, I saw it, and you just don't forget that.
Now this was 13 years ago, and our treatment modalities that were available at that time were relatively limited.
This was 2008. They didn't do biopsies and do genetic testing or biomarkers. That hadn't started yet. So he went on to explain to me that they had a clinical trial that they were doing for my cancer, and then there was standard treatment.
So with Mary Jo, the plan focused on either standard of care, which at that time was standard chemotherapy, or looking into clinical trials, new things coming down the pipeline.
With clinical trials, you get the best possible care for patients, and I think that's very, very powerful. So I have always been very focused on clinical trials, bringing the best and the newest possible therapies to our patients.
Clinical trial is part of their DNA, and that's how we treat our patients.
The heroism that's involved with bringing clinical trials to the fore is truly remarkable. It's just an incredibly important thing for us to acknowledge how multifaceted an institution needs to be, and the PIs that are running these clinical trials need to be, and the sacrifices that they make to bring a clinical trial into reality.
The University of Michigan Rogel Cancer Center is a comprehensive cancer center, meaning we engage in basic science, we engage in clinical science and clinical trials, and we involve ourselves in the care of cancer patients. That whole landscape from basic science through research, clinical research to the patient is all part of how we deliver the best possible care and advance the science to ultimately bring new and better treatments to patients.
So he went on to explain the clinical trial.
We had a trial that was looking at a new way of doing chemotherapy plus it's called an anti-angiogenic drug, or a drug that blocks blood vessel formation and blood flow to tumors.
By the 11th treatment, there was no evidence of disease. All of my lymph nodes were clear, and the small nodule that started this whole thing looked like just a tiny little scar.
Her tumor responded extremely well.
There's so many trials that have been pivotal. The results of some of the clinical trials have been mind-blowing and have changed how we manage treatment.
So 4.5 years goes by, After 4.5 years, continuing on the Avastin, not having any problems, no reoccurrences, and feeling pretty good, I went in for a scan, so I was scheduled for a scan. I came in to get the results. I walked in. Dr. K was already in the office, which was unusual.
And we had another difficult conversation.
He said, "Mary Jo, not so good this time."
Tumors evolve. It is their survival mechanism.
Cancer's, at the end of the day, not an engineering problem.
There are hundreds of cancers. Even if you have the same named disease, your cancer may act very differently than the cancer in the next patient.
They evolve in terms of genetic changes, but they also evolve in terms of location.
The goal that we would really want to achieve is that we could identify metastasis before the patient becomes symptomatic, before the disease has had a chance to take hold and cause organ destruction, tissue destruction.
One of the unique aspects of the University of Michigan is its ability to work collaboratively across very diverse science and different schools, from the School of Medicine to the School of Public Health to the College of Engineering. And I think just one example of that kind of work can be described as tissue engineering and artificial tissue engineering, in the sense of developing scaffolds that tracked cancer cells.
By implanting the microporous small device into the patient, we can game the system in our favor, identifying the metastasis when the volume of disease is really low, before the patient becomes symptomatic, that we could take a sample of the metastatic cells and design targeted therapeutics specifically to those cell types, or even the immune-mediated events that allow the metastasis to happen, to potentially prevent a metastasis from taking hold at all.
The University of Michigan's strengths in working collaboratively at the cutting edge of science to work with artificial tissue structures and the matrix molecules that are parts of those structures really allows us to do things that other cancer centers elsewhere in the country don't have the talent, the resources, and the environment to pursue.
Maybe we always feel like we're at the cusp of something groundbreaking, and I would say we are really always at the cusp of something groundbreaking.
We are very much right now at a threshold where many new therapies are coming online.
It's not just that we have an understanding of the genetic changes that we're looking for, and it's not just that we have an understanding of the treatments that might work. It's which patients maybe are going to be best served with the surgery, and which patients maybe are going to be best served with radiation, and which patients are going to be best served with the medical treatments.
Think about a situation where you have a bad cancer, you're about to be infused with serious chemotherapeutic drugs, and you're one of the 20% of patients in whom these drugs don't work. Does it make sense to infuse you? Probably not.
We are always looking for ways to decrease the toxicity of treatment.
One size does not fit all, and we now can individualize the treatment options. And so it's better for the patient, and it's more fulfilling to the physician that you can provide that patient the best possible treatment for their cancer.
The maintenance drug did its job. Avastin, which was the drug that I took, was designed to, in very layman's terms, to seek out rogue cancer cells and choke off the blood supply so they wouldn't set up shop in any organs.
We looked everywhere with all the tests that we could do.
And there's been no spread. It's just that pesky nodule that's growing again.
So we took a radical approach with our group of physicians and said, well, we only see one thing, let's just go in and take it out. So Mary Jo was again game for this aggressive approach.
2 days later, me and my husband went to see the surgeon, Dr. Reddy. And I remember him walking in the office, just bursting in. And he shook my husband's hand and said, "Hi, Mr. Grant, it's nice to meet you." And then he grabbed my hand and he said, "Mrs. Grant, so nice to finally meet you in person." And I said, "Do we know each other?" And he said, "Well, you don't know me," he said. And I'm gonna get emotional. He said, but I know you quite well. I've been watching your scans for 5 years. It was then that I realized I had heard about tumor board, that they took, people's scans to tumor board. But here was this doctor I'd never met, and others who I'd never met, who were caring for me, taking care of me.
I took care of a 12-year-old who had so many questions. That was back in 2009. We were able to get the entire tumor out. The next morning, his first question was, when can I go back to soccer? He is well up into his 20s now.
That's why you want to do this, to have people do well.
I told the kids, I said, I have no plans on going anywhere. Dad and I plan on living into our ripe old age and being a complete and utter burden in both of your lives.
I have the world's kindest, most wonderful patients, and I am forever in awe of their ability to take hold of the situation and move forward and to emerge actually even stronger than what they were.
Patients, families, and advocates are taking center stage in all aspects of decision-making in healthcare and science. How is that? Well, patients are more and more serving on advisory boards for the FDA, advisory boards for funding agencies like the NIH, and frankly, sitting on advisory and consumer boards for big pharma.
Patients often come to the clinic with an immense amount of knowledge.
The patient voice is essential. Patients are forming their own advocacy groups. Patients are forming their own funding agencies.
You can't help but be inspired by how hard everyone's working.
It takes a team.
We get to work as part of a huge multidisciplinary team with
really gifted people that are really just leaning in all the way to try to address complex problems.
The team, the team, the team. The team is you. The team is the scientist. The team is the clinician. The team is the researcher. It's all of us together making a difference.
Immunotherapy.
Biomarkers.
Serial sequencing.
liquid biopsy.
The scaffold.
Bone marrow transplantation.
Anything is possible.
We want to give hope to every patient diagnosed with cancer.
Hope is the thread that takes me through 2008 all the way to the present moment.
Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has.
Good evening. I am Nathan Forbes, and I am so proud to share with tonight's audience of the Rogel Cancer Center colorful event that the Forbes Institute for Cancer Discovery is making great advances and great strides in high-risk, high-reward research in the fight to find better treatments and ultimately better cures for people living with cancer. The University of Michigan is the #1 cancer center in the state of Michigan and #9 in the world for cancer research. The Forbes Institute for Cancer Discovery is a multi-interdisciplinary approach to cancer research. It is deeply woven within the fabric of the world-class University of Michigan Rogel Cancer Center. Our cancer research team takes advantage of unique collaborations in University of Michigan's top-ranked schools and colleges, like the College of Engineering, for example. So on behalf of my wife, Catherine, my parents, Sydney and Madeline Forbes, and under the leadership of Dr. Max Wisha, we want to thank you all for giving us the opportunity to share our vision, hear your stories, and ultimately be part of the worldwide solution. Tonight, we have the opportunity to write new stories of hope, new stories of treatments, and new stories of cures. So please support our efforts by making a gift to benefit cancer research. Thank you and have a wonderful evening.
Nate and the entire Forbes family. And before we go any further tonight, I did want to point out I'm not underdressed for the occasion, as my friend Andrea Fisher-Newman texted me during this past break, during that video, saying, why are you wearing a T-shirt? I'm supporting Colorful. This was a T-shirt that was sent to me, and I want everybody here to support Colorful tonight. And I don't want anyone to think as we go on with this significant program that I'm underdressed for the occasion. All right, we're now going to welcome a surprise guest and then visit some of the homes where people have gathered to participate in Colorful. I'm pleased to welcome a friend, a colleague, somebody who's important to the school, a great man, Dhani Jones. Dhani is a former Michigan and NFL linebacker, an entrepreneur, an author, someone who's wearing the same T-shirt I am tonight, not to mention a multimedia broadcaster. He's also an enthusiastic and effective philanthropist, including as the founder of the great Bowtie Cause. Dhani, you know all about the importance of a team. Thank you for joining us tonight. I appreciate it. Tell us what you're excited about when it comes to the potential of supporting cancer research.
Well, I think it's been said several times over. It is about the team, and my head coach Lloyd Carr from our '97 national championship team. He always told us it was only about the team, but it was about the selflessness of the team, right? And that's how you truly build character. That's how you truly build champions. Is by each person working for the next. And I had a fortunate opportunity of playing the National Football League for 11 years, my first team being the New York Giants, and I got hurt my first year. And if you're on injured reserve, you don't get to spend a lot of time with the team. And that's because you're rehabbing all the time. And we had a road game where we played in Philadelphia, and I went down to Philadelphia and went to go to the game, but I really went to go see my friend. And my friend, I noticed something was off. You know, my friend, who's generally speaking a good, 6'2", 300 some odd pounds, was down to about 120 pounds. And I asked him, I said, what was wrong? And he told me, he really just pointed to a bunch of pills. And he said that he had cancer. He had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And so I can remember like it was yesterday, driving back from that game from Philadelphia up to New Jersey, New York area, and just thinking, how could I be selfless in terms of helping my friend? And I just immediately remember him saying, if you want to be somebody, you got to rock a bow tie. So I immediately went to the store. I got a bow tie, and that is where Bowtie Cause started from. An opportunity to really be the voice of those that maybe can't speak, be the advocates for maybe those that are fighting, that need to reserve all their strength, so we fight for them, right? Be the selflessness, or have a certain level of selflessness, so that the team can persevere and the community can support, and in such a great way that we're supporting tonight with the Rogel Cancer Center.
And that's a great thing. See, normally when we see you, Dhani, you're in a bow tie, but now you're in the same T-shirt that I am, only it looks a lot better on you than it does me, but that's a story for another. You look good in it. I mean, it fits you nice and trim. That extra large fits you good, much better than me, Dhani.
A little secret, Adam, I did get a large, just so it was a little bit more fitted, But I want to make sure everybody gets their T-shirt, because we have to be able to support, we have to be able to advocate, and we have to be selfless for those that are battling this, battling cancer.
All right, Dhani, would you like to stay with us as we visit some of those attending the event tonight?
Of course.
Great. Okay, we're first going to stop in the home of Dr. Joshi Olumkul, where he's watching with his son, Nicholas. Joshi, I understand you're making big strides in prostate cancer research. What motivates you to do this work?
Well, Adam, Dhani, great seeing you guys, and great to be part of this event. And I think without question, it's our patients and their families. Just seeing their grace, their dignity, their courage, it's the only motivation we need, and it helps us focus on the right questions and problems, and they're every bit an ally in all the things that we do. And when I came here 2 years ago to help lead prostate cancer research efforts on campus, is really to be a part of one of the best teams in the world working on this disease. And I'm very confident about the progress we're making and that we'll continue to make. And a great shout out to all the people working on campus to try and rid us of this terrible disease. And a big shout out to the folks in my lab who are with us tonight too.
And a big shout out to you, Dr. Olumkul. And again, as I mentioned to you before, it must be something that they teach you in medical school about your voice being so soothing and kind, because it seems like so many doctors sound the way you do. And I want to thank you for everything that you've done to be a part of the Rogel Cancer Center team. And I understand, Nicholas, that you're a sophomore in high school and plan to create your own career path as a sports journalist. Now, I'm not sure you want to do that, but how are you getting ready to become a sports journalist and take over as the senior ESPN NFL insider replacing me?
Yeah, as you said, I'm a sophomore in high school at Greenhill School here in Ann Arbor. In this past year, I've been able to commentate and broadcast my school's basketball games. Next year, I'm hoping to start a club in my school to expand our sports coverage, get more people interested, and be able to cover more sports, and have people continue our cover sports at our school. And as you said, I'm excited that my favorite sport is soccer, so I'm excited ESPN's expanded their soccer coverage. And if you ever need a soccer reporter, then let me know. But I love all sports, definitely.
We're looking for a soccer insider, I think. Would you like to ask Mr. Jones a question as a journalist? He's got some outstanding journalistic skills and abilities, not to mention to go along with the bow tie cause.
Yeah, my question, Mr. Jones, is who are the biggest role models in your life, and how have they changed the course of your life?
Well, Adam Schefter, of course, a great graduate of the greatest university, University of Michigan. He's been an incredible role model, especially in all the things that I do media related. And then also a really good friend of mine, Michael Strahan. He always said to me when I was playing on the Giants, he said, please say thank you and look people in their eye, because people will remember you, right? And I think that's one of the greatest things that I could learn from him. But I think it's also one of the greatest principles that I learned here at the University of Michigan. People will always remember you. People will always remember the things that you say and what you do.
All right, Dr. Luco, Nicholas, thank you very much for allowing us to visit with you and your family in your home. And we're now going to visit with Michael Schuckman. Michael, is there anyone there you'd like to introduce us to?
I think my two daughters would love to be introduced, Emma and Bar Schuckman, both future University of Michigan graduates.
All right. Emma and Bar Schuckman, nice to see you all. Appreciate you all joining us tonight. And Michael, can you tell us what motivates you to support cancer research?
Yeah, other than, my mom's a breast cancer survivor, so obviously that's near and dear to my heart. But more so, I'm very close to Rich and Susan Rogel. And to see how always they were involved in the University of Michigan, in particular the Cancer Institute, it was near and dear to my heart and really kind of motivated me to get more involved. And I think with cancer and its effects on families, just their enthusiasm, their motivations, really filters onto the staff, the employees, the research within the Cancer Institute itself. That really motivated me to become a part of it, no matter how big or small it may be. So that's really the kind of the key component of me being involved with the Rogel Cancer Center.
Well, Emma, Bar, Michael, thank you for being with us tonight. And we'd also like to say hello to Dylan Wheatley. Dylan is an organizational studies student at the University of Michigan. His mission is to connect U of M students to the Rogel Cancer Center's mission to conquer cancer. Dylan, would you share a little bit with us tonight about your family's experience with cancer?
Of course, I'd love to, and thank you for having me here. I really appreciate it. Unfortunately, like many of us, cancer has been a large part of my life, and it started the day I was born. I never had the chance to meet my grandfather, and as I continued throughout growing up, I also had many other experiences, unfortunately. My other grandfather passed away, and my uncle just this past summer lost his life to cancer. And just over the last few months, because that wasn't enough, my uncle underwent surgery after relapsing, and my aunt was diagnosed with stage 3 melanoma. So cancer is definitely a part of my life, but I tell these stories to remind why the mission is so important, and the mission of Rogel and other institutions that support cancer research, because I truly have seen improvements from this research over time, and it's using these stories to help pursuit for a cancer-free world.
Well, Don, I'm sorry for your losses, and I hope tonight you recognize that you're not alone and that together we can take action against cancer. And I know you're entering your final year as a Michigan student and are interested in connecting the student body to the Rogel Cancer Center. Would you tell us a little bit about why you see that as an opportunity, Dylan?
Absolutely. I think the question is, why not? I really like how the video touched on the whole idea of the Michigan community and the team. I bleed blue alongside many of my peers and many alumni of this school. And I think that because so many of us have been affected by cancer, there's that such that strong Michigan community, why not bring us together to be able to support each other, support the mission, research, just have that community to lean on each other when we may need each other at those times.
Much respect to you, Dylan. I truly appreciate all you do. Keep up the great work. And it's great to visit with those who are watching. We hope all of you are being inspired by this program tonight. And Rich Nelson is joining us next. He was propelled into action by his sister's experience with breast cancer and is an incredibly strong advocate and fundraiser. Rich is a venture capitalist as well as co-founder and director at the Think Pink Rocks charitable organization. He serves as a member of the Rogel Cancer Center's National Advisory Board. Rich, all yours.
Hi, I'm Rich Nelson, a co-founder and director of Think Pink Rocks, a nonprofit organization whose mission is to raise funding for breast cancer research. I'm also a member of the National Advisory Board of the Rogel Cancer Center. I want to thank you all for joining us tonight. I'm honored to be here with you. When my sister Stephanie was in her late 30s, she had 2 young children when she received the diagnosis of advanced breast cancer. After a few failed chemotherapy regimens, she was advised by her oncologist in New York to get her affairs in order because she was going to die. Miraculously, we found a phase 2 clinical trial to enroll her in that saved her life. Those little kids are now 21 and 19, and my sister is a 17-year breast cancer survivor, 15 years with stage 4. The only reason stories like hers are possible is because of funding by people like you who help bring the ideas of our brilliant doctors at the Rogel Cancer Center to a clinical reality. So please join me tonight in supporting cancer research at the Rogel Cancer Center. Take out your virtual wallets, sell your Bitcoin, your Ethereum, even your Dogecoin, and help us make a difference in the fight against cancer. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Rich. I don't have any Bitcoin or Ethereum. I guarantee you, knowing Dhani, he does. I am quite confident Dhani would be invested in all of that. But we're grateful for all the cancer research that your efforts have fueled so far, Rich. We appreciate that. And like Rich's family, the loved ones of Maria Reinhardt de Cesare knew they wanted to do something to help others when cancer touched their lives. Their dedication to remembering Maria and honoring her legacy of love and kindness may lead to the establishment of an endowed professorship in cancer research this year. As you'll see, Maria was a vibrant light, and most of all, a dedicated mother to her children, Andrew and Elizabeth.
It's really hard. It's pretty tough, especially knowing that there's nothing you can do. And it was so young and early in my life that something like that happened. Like it's, so we kind of grew up knowing that she wasn't there our whole life. Going to school, having friends with a full set of parents, and then knowing that there's still no cure and this is like happening to other people. It's pretty tough. To this day, I wish I could do something, but there's some situations, there's literally nothing you can do. That's why it hurt the most.
I think if I had any advice to give, it would be to be nice. Be nice to other people. Be nice to each other. Be nice to your bodies. Exercise. Be readers. Read books. Take advantage of culture. Go to plays. Try to be the best person that you can be. This is a video message for Elizabeth and Andrew de Cesare, my 2 beautiful kids that I love so much. I'm making this video because I'm going into the hospital today for a very scary procedure, and I just want to make sure that you kids know how much I love you. Elizabeth, you're 1 year old right now, and Andrew, you're 3.5. And just in case that I don't have the pleasure of being around you when you're older, I wanted to just tell you a little bit about me and you and what I think is important in life for you guys. First of all, I want to say that your father, Bruce, my husband, is the love of my life. From the very first day that I saw him, I loved him, and loved him even more because your father is such a nice, in his heart, he is a nice man. Andrew, you're the nicest boy. You listen to your mother, you're pleasant, you're sweet, you smile. You're such a nice little boy at 3.5, and I can only imagine that you're just going to get better and better. And Elizabeth, you're only 1 year old, and at 1, you're the cutest, nicest little girl too. Just sweet, gentle, kind, and that's how I want you guys to continue being.
My sister right now is absolutely like a stellar personality. Every single person that she's ever met loves her. She walks into a room and the room lights up. My sister is absolutely, I'm so proud of her. She has straight A's. She's gonna be super successful in life, and she's rocking it.
All of my choices, whether it's my career or my decisions that I make every day, being in the military, it has come from the stories that I've heard about my mom and what I imagined she was like, and based on her career choices and her life decisions, I try to mirror everything she does. She truly wanted to make the world a better place.
What you decide to be, whether it's a doctor, a teacher, an astronaut, a fireman, the most important thing for me in life that I've learned now is that you enjoy the small things, the beauty in the fact that tulips come up every spring and they're just so gorgeous, and that the moon comes out and the sky is so beautiful. I love you. And I'm sorry that I wasn't able to spend my life with you, because there's nothing more in the world that I'd rather do.
I would do anything to get that chance, or give that chance for another kid to grow up with a parent.
Of course, you're always going to remember your mom. I think about her every day, and it's really important that she was part of my life, and I should know as much as I can about her. And so, even though I lost her so young, she's still impacted my life to this day, and still continues to do.
That was incredible. That was incredibly touching. We may all want to take a moment to remember Maria DeCesar and those we love who have been lost to cancer. The efforts of these families illustrate that when we feel the most powerless, we can take power back. There are so many of us who are hurting or who are compelled to action, and each one of us can do something to change the future for the better. Christina Costa was so inspired by her surgeon and the desire to help others after her own brain cancer treatment that she hosted her own online fundraiser. She raised more than $50,000 and inspired one contributor to help match those funds. Together, they raised more than $100,000 for brain cancer research. That is the power of philanthropy.
Hi, Rich and Susan. Thank you so much for all you do. You inspire people like me to do the things that we do, and I see your name a lot. Through this, I've met other fundraisers and other causes, and even within the Department of Neurosurgery, which is a specific department, hearing about the different things people are fundraising for, and then, broadening that and thinking about all the people fundraising through the Cancer Center for all of these different types of diseases. It's just really, it's cool. It's a cool team to be a part of. And I, for about a month, cried. I've cried a lot this past year, but for about a month, I cried every single night, thinking about just the generosity of people who I've never even met.
That's awesome. What an incredible evening. Incredible stories with incredible people and just inspirational, truly. And that is the reason that we've gathered here tonight. We've also gathered here tonight to honor and have a visit from Robin Roberts coming up. So stay tuned for that. And we're going to take a moment now to hear from our generous sponsors. Please join them in supporting cancer research by clicking the link to make a gift.
Good evening. I'm Shelley Skinner with Genentech, a member of the Roche Group. I wore purple this evening in honor of my sister Sue, a 3-year pancreatic cancer survivor. We are so grateful for Dr. Cliff Cho at the Rogel Cancer Center and the second opinion he and his team provided. Today, Sue is alive and thriving, and we are so grateful.
And I'm Sam Malinowski, also with Genentech and a cancer survivor myself. For more than 40 years, Genentech has been following the science and seeking solutions to unmet medical needs. We are a leader in advancing the fields of cancer biology, cancer immunology, and oncology drug discovery.
We are proud to be tonight's presenting sponsor of Colorful, benefiting the Rogel Cancer Center, one of the top cancer research institutions in the world.
At Genentech, we know making medicines is just one way we can make a difference. We're passionate about applying our skills, time, and resources to positively impact the patients we serve, the scientific community, and the places where we live and work.
Tonight, we join all of you in a shared mission to improve the health and well-being of all cancer patients, near and far. We live in an age of incredible scientific discovery, and together we have the potential to change people's lives.
Thank you all for being here tonight, and thank you to Adam Schefter and the faculty, staff, and the patients of the Rogel Cancer Center for your partnership.
Hi, I'm Dr. Daniel Hayes. I'm a breast cancer medical oncologist at Michigan Medicine and the University of Michigan Rogel Cancer Center. I can't tell you how pleased and appreciative I am for all the work and all the support that you and Cyburn, and especially my good friend and patient Alyssa Tushman, have provided to us in our efforts to fight this disease. We've made incredible strides against breast cancer over the last 35 years. We've seen mortality reduced by well over a third for patients who have breast cancer. And furthermore, we've also seen better therapies that have fewer toxicities. We're getting smarter. We know what we're doing. And it's the kind of support that you all provide us that help us make those kinds of strides. Please keep it up. I know this has been a tough year for everybody. I hope next year we can be doing this in person, but we do appreciate what you've done, and it does make a difference. God bless you all.
Are we back on here? Okay. Well, let's give a virtual round of applause to our sponsors for making this event possible. Thank you very much. And keep the applause going for our next presenters. Richard and Susan Rogel's lives have been greatly impacted by cancer, and they saw a clear need to accelerate progress. Their transformational gift to the University of Michigan in 2018 demonstrated an unshakable confidence in a campus-wide, multidisciplinary approach to cancer research. They both have played key roles in fundraising campaigns at the University of Michigan, which was pleased to name the Cancer Center in their honor. Here to say a few words and to introduce our special guests are Richard and Susan Rogel.
Hi, everyone. I'm Susan Rogel, and this is my husband, Rich. Several years ago, we had a function at our house for the Michigan Cancer Center, and someone asked me what the name of the Cancer Center was. And I said, wouldn't it be wonderful if it was the Rogel Cancer Center?
And I turned to Susan, I was amazed because I had been thinking about doing this for several years. After that, we put that into motion, and 3 years ago, we named the Rogel Cancer Center.
Since that time, and really long before that time, we have met so many incredible people.
Which is why we are so excited about tonight's event. It's amazing to bring everyone together, brilliant doctors and scientists, fellow donors, patients and families. So many people willing to take on cancer. Years ago, I was riding the chairlift in Vail, and I was sitting next to this young lady, and we were chatting, and she told me her name was Robin Roberts. And I said, "Oh, are you related to the Philadelphia pitcher, Robin Roberts?" And she goes, "Yeah, that was my uncle." Then I realized this is the woman that I see on TV. I followed her career since then, and I have to admit that she is now one of my heroes. Ladies and gentlemen, I am honored to introduce co-anchor of Good Morning America and president of Rock and Robin Productions, the one and only Robin Roberts.
As we said, we consider all of you family and friends, and we know that you really are. So there's something we want to share with you about something we've learned inside our family this week.
We wanted you to hear it from us. Didn't want you to hear it anywhere else, and it's now been able to say it out loud. I have breast cancer, as my family here knows, my family at home knows, and very, very blessed and thankful that I found it early. I detected it, ironically, the day that we did the tribute show for our dear friend Joel Siegel. And I happened to do a piece on the show about his courageous battle and how early detection is key. And that very night, I found a lump. Normally, I would have not done anything because I'm healthy, right?
Healthy, you are the model for all of us. You are.
So you think that, and I would not have acted upon it, but Joel was resonating in my heart, and so I called the doctor, and it's the early stages. I will have surgery on Friday, begin treatment, and move forward as millions of people do when they hear this. But still hearing the words and saying it and seeing, it's surreal. My doctor not only wanted a mammogram, but he put down ultrasound, and the cancer was not detected in the mammogram, but it was detected in the ultrasound, and I had the biopsy and it confirmed it. There is a wonderful community that I've only learned this in a couple of weeks, but a wonderful community out there that wants to share, and they say once you're diagnosed, you are a survivor. Once you're diagnosed, that's it, you are a survivor. So many families that have dealt with this, and I will get up like everybody else. I will go to work. I will say Good Morning America. I will have my good days and bad days. So be kind to me on the message board when I have my bad days and the hair's kind of,
A woman who gave us 7 rules for our lives has demonstrated every one of them for us through this and more to come.
I have an 8th rule, early detection.
Early detection, 8th rule. And thank heaven for all of you.
Thank heaven for you guys. Thanks. Well, thank you very much for that introduction. I am honored to be asked to speak for a few minutes, and I appreciate the colorful theme because when it comes to cancer, we are all in this together. And advances in research for one cancer can help advance knowledge and treatment for others. There's no doubt in my mind that because of research like that being done at the Rogel Cancer Center, I'm not only blessed to be a cancer survivor, but a cancer thriver after facing the disease not once but twice. I was diagnosed with triple-negative breast cancer in 2007, MDS 5 years later when I underwent a successful bone marrow transplant. It became my mission to make my mess my message, to publicly share my journey, to encourage others to know their family history, to speak about the importance of cancer screenings, and to increase the number of bone marrow donors. Nothing pleases me more than to see all the medical advancements since my diagnosis, all the tireless efforts of many, including Dr. Nora Lynn Henry, a leader on Rogel's breast cancer team, and who I'm proud to say received funding through the Robin Roberts Cancer Thrivership Fund. Now, despite all the progress, we know there is still much work and research that needs to be done. Yes, a lot of uncertainty. I choose to believe that means there are endless possibilities. So thank you to the physicians, nurses, researchers, and staff of the Rogel Cancer Center. Thank you to the generous donors. Keep doing what you can to make a difference in so many lives. And I end by wishing a special blessing to the patients, their family, friends, all their loved ones. I hope I can be a symbol that this too shall pass. All right, Adam, I'm going to send it back to you now. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Robin. And I can remember hearing her use that phrase, make your mess your message, when she was honored at the ESPYs way back when. And that phrase stayed with me. She invoked it again tonight. And I think there's an element of truth in that. Make your mess your message. And as she said, she has become not just a cancer survivor, but a cancer thriver. In our industry and everywhere, Robin's fortitude is an inspiration. Now let's take a few minutes to welcome a few groups that are focused on raising money for adrenal cancer research. Hello, and thank you for joining us at Colorful. You all know each other, but let's learn a little bit more about your organization and what you're passionate about. Let's meet the Gannon family from ACC Cure. Linda Gannon is an adrenal cancer survivor and is joined by her family tonight. Linda, can you introduce us to everyone and share a little bit about your organization and why you support the Rogel Cancer Center?
Hi, Adam. Thank you so much for having me. We are so grateful and honored to be part of this amazing program tonight. I'm sitting here tonight with my family, my husband, Bob, my daughter, Michelle, and her husband, Zach, and my son and his fiance, Chris and Kristen, are watching from their home. As you mentioned, I am a survivor of adrenal cancer, an ultra rare 1 to 2 person per million diagnosis. I traveled to Michigan from New Jersey for a second opinion with Dr. Gary Hammer. And from the moment Bob and I met the team led by Gary, we knew we were in the right place. It was like following the yellow brick road and seeing the wizard, honestly. Being so grateful for all the wonderful care at the University of Michigan Rogel Cancer Center, we knew as a family that we needed to make a difference. Rare cancers like ACC receive very minimal to no funding. And for those reasons, ACC Cure was established in 2012 with a mission to raise awareness and fund research to ultimately find a cure. So through our amazing and generous sponsors and supporters over the years, we have funded close to $500,000 to research. Together, we really are making a difference, and we're so proud of everybody that has supported us. To quote Christopher Reeve, once you choose hope, anything is possible. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts to all of you at the Rogel Cancer Center at the University of Michigan for being the leaders in adrenal cancer research and for providing the hope for so many in all their cancer battles.
Linda, thank you for choosing hope, and thank you and the Gannon family for being here tonight and for all you do to help others. And now let's visit with the Drew O'Donoghue Fund. We're joined by Sean and Lisa O'Donoghue and their loved ones, and adrenal cancer became a passion when they lost their son, Drew, to this devastating disease in 2014. And since then, their contributions have made many advances possible as they sponsor a Drew Scholar at the Rogel Cancer Center. Sean and Lisa, can you introduce us to everyone and tell us a little bit more about your organization and mission for the future?
Thank you, Adam. It is our pleasure to join in this event supporting Dr. Gary Hammer and his team's great work in adrenal cancer research at the Rogel Cancer Center. I'm here with my wife, Lisa, And we have our fund trustees, Jerry Nealon, Jerry Vogel, Jim Wyatt, and our son Patrick all looking on. And you will hear from Grace Dunn in a moment. We are here in honor of Drew and the Drew O'Donoghue Fund family, named for our son who had a great gusto for life. We support research efforts and patient care and families with loved ones afflicted with adrenal cancer. It is with our collective energy, with Linda at ACC Cure and the ACC Warriors, coupled with many other friends in ACC research, to overcome these diseases and to help support the great strides Dr. Hammer has made these past several years with such energy, determination, and care. Thank you to Robin and Grace for being great inspirations, and I thank the Rogels for their incredible generosity. Over to you, Grace.
Hi, everyone. I'm very excited to be here tonight. My name is Grace Dunn, and I'm on the board for the Drew O'Donoghue Fund. I was diagnosed with adrenal cancer, ACC, in the spring of 2014 when I was 18 years old. After my recurrence in 2016, I received immunotherapy. I'm currently 2.5 years in remission, and I hope to reach that 5-year mark. Thank you to everyone for your efforts in fundraising and raising awareness for cancers such as ACC. I hope other patients like myself can receive the proper treatment to improve the bleak prognosis of this rare cancer. A cure would be even better, so no one has to go through what I or the other ACC families have. So thank you all for your time and continue the fight against cancer.
Well, keep fighting, Grace. Thank you, Grace. Thank you, Sean and Lisa, for all that you do and for being here tonight. And finally, let's meet members of the ACC Warriors. Tonight, we're joined by Mike and Jessica Abishano and Morgan Deegan. Mike, you all have suffered some tragedies. Can you share with us why this work is so important to you and how your organization is making a difference in the future of patient care and research?
Sure can, Adam. I'm going to go up a little bit off script here because after watching Maria DeCisa's video, it really hit home for me. My sister passed away from cancer almost 4 years ago at the age of 33. And I actually remember creating videos in her bed, just like Maria did for her children. And her son was 4 years old at the time, and her other son was 1 year old. They're now 4 and 7. And, you know, we'll show those videos to them in a couple of years when they get a little bit older. But we started ACC Warriors. My sister, her dying wish was to start an organization to raise money for ACC cancer and to raise money for children and patients with ACC. With that, I'll kick it over to Morgan's family, who joined our board recently.
Thank you, Mike. My name is Morgan Deegan. I'm on the board of ACC, as Mike mentioned. My husband's sister, Kathleen, lost her battle with ACC 1.5 years ago at the age of 29. Her family, who are here with us tonight, her brothers, John and Brian, her dad, John, and her mother, Linda. We made it our mission to carry out her dying wish, which was, like Sarah's, for no one to face the devastation that she did. Being stronger together, it just made sense for us to join forces with Mike and ACC Warriors when we were getting ready to get the ball rolling on carrying out that mission. At our last board meeting, Dr. Hammer actually joined us and spoke about the concept of showing ACC patients and their families where hope lies. And that's at the core of the work being done among all of these groups here tonight. The leverage to create change comes from a lot of people collectively doing a little bit. ACC Warriors has allowed us to do that in honor of Kathleen. We're really grateful to be here tonight.
Morgan, Mike, your families, thank you to everybody for being here tonight and propelling the mission forward. When we talk about cancer research, we think a lot about science and advancing medicine. The Rogel Cancer Center team recognizes that a focus on well-being and improving all aspects of the patient journey is crucial too. Here's a look inside an important way we help cancer patients and their loved ones connect to themselves, one another, and the world around them. Music therapy made a huge difference for this 4-year-old cancer patient.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star.
Twinkle, little star?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, twinkle, little star. 1, 2, 3.
Twinkle, twinkle, little
It's incredible, isn't it? Just great. Amazing. Our evening's coming to a close, and I want to thank you all for being a part of this important event. I want to thank all the people that worked on this. Lauren, Rob, Amira, thank you for all you did to help put this all together. And it just goes to show that together we can make a difference across the spectrum of cancers for every diagnosis and for every patient. Please give generously and give with your whole heart. National Cancer Survivors Day is on Sunday. Let's give to remember those we've lost and to honor the survivors in our lives and for all those who will survive tomorrow thanks to the research done today. Coming up are some final messages from Go Blue, Wear Pink, a student organization, and the Cancer Center's incredible researchers. We're so glad you could join us at Colorful. Have a wonderful night, everybody. Thank you for being with us and appreciate all your donations.
Thank you for being here and joining us in supporting the Rogel Cancer Center. I'm Liv, the current president of Go Blue, Wear Pink, which is a student-run organization at the University of Michigan that raises money to fund breast cancer research at the Rogel Cancer Center.
I'm Sammy, the former president of Go Blue, Wear Pink. Each year we host different events such as flag football tournaments, restaurant fundraisers, and apparel tabling across campus. We all know someone who's been affected by cancer, whether a close friend, family member, or friend of a friend. For me personally, it was my grandma, even though she was lucky enough to beat this horrible disease.
And for me, it was my aunt. She too was lucky enough to beat this disease. However, this is why we find it extremely important to give back to the community in which we live. Through Go Blue, Wear Pink, we are able to do exactly that.
Our members are extremely passionate about the cause. Since Go Blue, Wear Pink began in 2007, we've raised over $400,000 to accelerate the groundbreaking research that's conducted at the Rogel Cancer Center. This year, even during the pandemic, we were able to raise close to $50,000 for breast cancer research.
Thank you so much for supporting cancer research. Having been here at the University of Michigan for nearly 20 years, I have witnessed many remarkable efforts that donor support and contributions have made toward exciting research discoveries. Without a doubt, this support has positively and profoundly impacted me in so many ways. Thank you for your support of cancer research.
I want to express my utmost thanks to everyone who is here tonight supporting cancer research. As a researcher who focuses on symptom management and quality of life, support from donors like you has been invaluable for enabling me to launch new areas of investigation and make significant strides in improving the lives of patients with cancer. Thank you very much for your support.
I'm grateful for the opportunity to extend my thanks and to emphasize the importance of donor support of our research programs. It permits the freedom to explore the more radical ideas that are typically not permitted by traditional funding agencies. So on behalf of the Rogel, my research lab, and myself, I want to say thanks again.
I want to tell you how important philanthropy is to my cancer research program. In order to get an NIH grant funded, you need to have done at least a third of the work. So how can that work get done? Philanthropic dollars are the engine for letting that research get started, for letting you have an idea, and then developing it to the point that it can be funded. So thank you so much for attending this event tonight and for your support of cancer research.
The Newman Family Professorship is an endowed chair supported by a gift from donors like you. It allows me to conduct innovative research of great importance to society, from intensification of treatment for women with aggressive breast cancer, to mitigation of financial toxicity and overtreatment, to improvement of the quality of care that is delivered to all patients in our society. Thank you so much for supporting cancer research.
We serve patients at both Mott Children's Hospital and Rogel Cancer Center, and our aim is to improve patient outcomes through research and by increasing access to critical support services throughout the cancer journey. We couldn't do what we do without the generous support from our community, and I can't thank you enough for your dedication.
Every gift enables us to make transformational discoveries, train the leaders of tomorrow, and most importantly, provide the best possible care for our patients and their families. Thank you for supporting our team at the Rogel Cancer Center.
The Forbes Institute is an important arm of the Rogel Cancer Center,
which supports innovative research moving from the laboratory into the clinic. Over the past 5 years, we've funded over 35 investigators who've been able to take their basic discoveries and move them towards clinical trials. This has benefited patients with many kinds of cancer. We are so grateful to the Forbes family and to other generous donors who supported the Forbes Institute and made it such a success.
I just want to thank all of our donors for their generous support of our cancer research programs. Support from donors was critical for getting my own research program off the ground when I joined the faculty at Michigan. And I'm really excited to see how these initial pilot funds lead to bigger impact. We couldn't do it without you. Thanks.
The philanthropic support has allowed me to pursue novel ideas that have resulted in new therapies and new clinical trials for patients with cancer. The help from philanthropic enterprises, from individuals at all levels, makes a huge difference for the future. So people like you are able to save lives directly with your contributions. I wish you all a wonderful event, and I thank you again for your past and future contributions.
I want to express my deep gratitude to you for supporting cancer research here at the Rogel Cancer Center. I was fortunate to receive support from the Forbes and Limpert families early on that allowed my lab to develop a new understanding of why brain tumors are resistant to treatment. We've now opened a clinical trial based on these discoveries that we hope will improve outcomes for our patients with aggressive brain cancers. None of this could be possible without you. Thank you from me, and more importantly, thank you from my patients.
I really appreciate all past donations and even those of you who are considering donating again to the Cancer Research Center, as this allows us to provide answers through genetic testing and other diagnostics and really secures a chance for these patients to have more personalized medicine.
We're getting some funding from the National Cancer Institute, but it was all because of that first gift. So I really appreciate the little gifts to sponsor new and crazy ideas. Thank you.
I study adrenal cancer in the lab of Gary Hammer, and adrenal cancer is very rare and very poorly understood, and in fact that's what makes it so difficult for us to get funding to fight this disease. Thanks to your support, we've been able to develop novel biomarkers to help us identify very aggressive molecular forms of adrenal cancer before they even happen clinically, and we've also been able to develop a much deeper understanding of the molecular biology of this disease, such that we're able to repurpose FDA-approved therapies specifically for adrenal cancer or even identify novel therapeutic targets. So I'd like to thank you so much for your support, and go Blue!
day.